Since our last meeting, oh, okay, yes, we do have a meeting in progress. Thank you. We haven't had we haven't had a big meltdown. We've had lots of mediocre ones, but I've done what you suggested and I've shut up and I've just been available and done all the things that you said, and we've managed to de-escalate before we've even gone there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So talk me through an example that you've had then using that.
Well, for instance, this morning what upset her, it's the simplest things, Jess, as I know you know. It was something really crazy. I can't even remember now, but she really got the shit with me bad. And she ran off, and I thought she was hiding. She was trying to hide around the bit that runs around here. You can run around it. And I thought she was hiding at the other end of the wall. So I was trying to sneak up and come around to find her to say, "Ha, got ya." And I come around this end and she was actually leaning on the wall up there. But I said, there you are. Well, she started crying and she was like, "Oh, you frightened me. You're scaring me." And like carried on like I'd actually tried to chop her head off or something.
Sure.
And I was like, "I'm so sorry. I just thought you were hiding from me." And and then I went, "Just shut up, Stacey. You've apologized. Just shut up." So she went around the corner and hunched up in a circle and started crying. And I said, "Are you okay? Would you like a hug?" And she said, "No, stay away from me." I said, "Okay, well, I'll just be up here if you need me." And I just stayed at the end of the hall thing there. I didn't move away. I just stayed there. And within about 30 seconds, she got up and walked around the other way and sat on the lounge. And I walked around and she said, "You don't want to hug me." I said, "I'd love to hug you." And she said, "Okay." Just like that. And a lot of them instances have been like that. She has totally cracked it over. Because she's got a little runny nose and a bit of a cough in the last day or two. So she's obviously feeling a bit worn out and a bit worn down, and everything's hard when you feel like that. So, but they're always little things like that. They're always little moments. And then I've just been kind of going, "Okay, be quiet. I always apologize and say, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you feel that way." And then I just leave it, because I normally say "I'm sorry" and then I go on and on and on and on and on trying to apologize. And now I just say "I'm sorry." So I've apologized and I'm here. And it seems to be working. Yeah.
Wow.
We've had, like, as I said, we've had some that have gone bigger than this morning, a little bit higher, but we haven't had a full-on meltdown like we normally would.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Wow. That's just awesome. And how are you feeling then at the end of them and during?
That's leaving me feeling not as exhausted. I've actually managed, so in this fortnight, I have managed to decide that I need to get back to work. Like, I need some money. I can't keep being without money. I've had a 6-month break, which is what I asked the universe for, Jess. So I have to go now. I've decided I've got a name. I've been working on opening my own business. So I'm going to start as a support worker. So I've just done a few it's given me enough energy and enough encouragement to go, "Oh, well, I've got time to sit down and actually get an ABN now. And I've got a business name and I'm getting a few things together to start that business." So it's given me a little bit of a bit more energy. And I've even started exercising yesterday. I was like, I need to start moving, because I actually went and saw an exercise physiologist at the clinic up the road. It was free.
Okay.
And I said to her, "I've never been this weight. I've never been this big, and I'm really unhappy, and it's depressing, and I've got no energy for Reggie, and it's awful." And she said, "Let's just stop right there. You've never been this age before. You've never been this age with a 6-year-old before with ASD. You've never been lots of things before. So just stop beating yourself up about what you've never been before, because you are how you are now, and let's work on that." I went, "Oh, I really like that." I like that. So I started with her yesterday, and I walked the dog yesterday, and I come home and did my 30-minute exercises she's given me, which when she gave them to me, Jess, I looked at them and went, "Oh, they'll be nice and easy." I'm more unfit than I thought I was.
Yeah. It's never what we think. Never.
And I started eating health. Like, I've been eating healthier this week. I went, "All right, it's time to get your eating back on track," because I seem to have that little bit more energy from not arguing with her. So that allows me more time to make the healthier foods that I would like to eat that I can
Sure.
never bother cooking. Yeah.
Wow.
And we've had a
What
lot of
a domino effect. In
Yes,
2 weeks, Stacey. Are you kidding me?
I know.
In 2
Told
weeks.
Jess, it was all just because Jess told me to shut my big mouth.
We're done
Nicely.
now. See ya.
Nicely.
We're done. This is you've already achieved top of the
It's-
class.
It's been really good. Not saying there hasn't been hard moments, and
No,
there's
I know.
lots of other
I know.
stuff. But yeah, that has I've even said to some of the mums at school, give you a piece of advice that a nice friend told me. Don't fight
Shut
with them.
your gob.
Just be quiet. They're like, that makes sense. And I'm like, well, if you're really cranky and someone's coming at you, do you want to listen to them, or do you want to tell them to bugger off?
Yeah. Wow.
It works
I hope you're able to, what, like, telling me all of that. Do you feel and see how much you've achieved in those 2 weeks?
Yes, and in those 2 weeks, I've also had Wade home. So our dynamic changes. So this fortnight will be interesting, because when he's home, Reggie just loves him being home, and he loves being home, but they fight a lot. He says, we don't fight, but they do. They do. Like, well, no, they don't fight. She attacks him a lot. And then he gets cranky with her. And he was doing something the other day to her, and I don't know, they were having a row about something, and I think she keeps hitting him. She hits him all the time. She's very physical with him. And like, she'll walk up and mean to hit him on the bottom, but because of her height, she'll hit him, in that part above your bottom that really hurts, that backbone part. And she'll slap him there, and he'll get really cranky instantly, because it hurts and it surprises you. So he'll like say to her, don't hit me. Would you like it if I hit you? And I'm like, no, you need to change it. I said to him later, you need to change your language around that. You need to reverse it on her and just say, that really hurt me. If how would you feel if I was to come and hit you there? Like, do you think you'd be very happy? Do you understand why Daddy's not happy? Like, you need to try and turn it around for her, so she can try and start to reflect on herself, because she's not capable of understanding what's happening unless you try and spell it out for her. Like, you got to be very much more specific about what you're saying. He's like, oh, for God's sake. And I was like, it's the way it is, babe, or you're going to have that for the next probably 10 years.
So have you done his test as well?
And you know what? When I opened the message to get the Zoom, went, oh my God, he's gone back to work, and I forgot to measure him. So it's going to be another fortnight now. I'm so sorry.
Right.
He's had a lot going on.
To know, right? Yeah.
He's had a lot going on. He's I think between you and I, he's struggling to keep his head above water. His dad's been gone 2 years in July, and he's just starting to kind of really feel into it and acknowledge that he's gone. And he's really struggling, but he won't communicate with me about it. I'm watching him struggle, and because of the weird work I do, I know he's struggling. But he's just not talking. So I'm trying to support him in all ways, and until he's ready. So he's in a bit of a, so I did tell him we needed to measure him, and he went, what for? And I said, the epigenetic thing, I'll explain it all to you once we've done it. Oh, rightio. And then we just didn't get around to it. So I've written it on my whiteboard for when I just noticed it before.
Yeah,
so
good. Okay.
And then there's the blood tests with Reggie.
Yeah.
I finally got the GP appointment this week, and she's given me the pathology thing that I need. But Reggie has woken up yesterday, as I said, with a bit of a cough and a runny nose, and I was going to take her tomorrow morning to have the blood tests, but I'll leave it now and take her next week, because it's no good taking her when she's a little bit, body's a bit down, because we won't get normal results.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So I'll be waiting
just let
till
me
next
know
week
then
now.
when that's been
I'll let
done.
you know when we've gone. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So, all right, awesome. So we've achieved quite massive things, which is just so wonderful to hear. So then let's reflect on, one of our main goals, and it's only after one session. One of our main goals was to really get a handle of this emotional stuff, right? So probably for both of us, for both of you, right? So for Reggie and for yourself, around the meltdowns and everything. So if there's one thing that's become clearer, and the reason that I get you to repeat it and say it is because the more that we repeat things, the more that it just cements in, like, we know this now, my body knows it, my brain knows it. Okay. So what's the one thing that you can see clearly and differently now when it comes to emotions, when it comes to Reggie's emotions and meltdowns?
I think I have a greater respect that she is actually a little human that can't regulate what she's doing. So I need to be the bigger person and step back and be quiet so she can, because as I've heard you say before, children need to have these emotions so that they know they're not going to die and they're going to come out the other side and it's all going to be okay. And then we're going to learn how we're going to navigate through them as we look, as our brain grows, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And
I got a bit emotional then realizing that.
Yeah, which means it's so true for you, right?
Yes.
It means that's the truth. That's the truth in this moment for you.
Because she is a little human and she does have really big emotions, and that's just how she is.
Yep. Awesome. Beautiful. It's a really good realization. It takes some people years to get that, Stace, years.
Might be age, Jess, because of my age. Maybe I'm catching on quicker. Maybe
you could be right there.
Yes.
So let's figure out what today is for then. Okay. So we've taken a really positive step and we've created lots of different changes in different areas of your world. So yes, we've noticed that energy has increased for you, which has meant that we get to tick off and create some cool things in a business that you're going to create, which means that we're also making some healthier food decisions, which means we're also doing some exercise, which is a massive thing for you.
It's
right?
Huge. I've been trying to tackle this for at least 2 years now. I've been like really saying I want to do something about it. I'm sick of it. I just can't. And then it's just all too hard because I've got Reggie on the other end of it all. And in saying that, I have had moments during the fortnight where I was like, oh my God, this is so hard. Why does it have to be so hard all the time? But I just haven't felt that really depleted feeling that I was feeling, the totally overwhelmed feeling.
Sure. Yeah.
So I guess what I'm saying is there's still room for improvement for me.
It's always will be.
Yeah, but I feel like I've really started to master the keep your mouth shut, Stacey. And that's why this morning was a prime example, because I said, I'm really sorry. I was just trying to find you. And then I just stopped and went, you don't need to tell her all that. She doesn't give two whops that you were trying to find her. She just knows that you scared her. And now she's angry with you. Doesn't matter what else you say. She's not listening.
Exactly.
Which
And
I
that
felt was a huge moment. I was like, okay, this is how it works.
Yeah. And so kudos to you for remembering it in the moment, because we can still get trapped in those old habits and those old behaviors.
I did a workshop once for work last year, and it was called In the Jungle or something. She's a psychologist from, do you know her? You've heard of that?
Yes, I know her book. Yeah.
Yes. Well, she did a workshop for us at work, and we actually had a 3-hour workshop with her. And I thought she was great. She was like, her whole theories and things were good, but it's easier said than done. When you're in the moment, sometimes you can't just step back. Sometimes you're already in there before you're even meant to be.
Yes. So absolutely. So today then, Stace, so what's there for you in this moment that moving forward is our next hurdle? So you are the expert in what's going on in your home, right, from a day-to-day basis, also internally. So what's our next hurdle?
I think besides food, because we know that's always a hurdle, but I'm working on that.
That's okay. We can add that. Put that down.
Yeah, food with Reg, but I'd also like to try and it's such a big thing. I don't even know how to get all the words out. She's so she thinks everybody's out to get her all the time.
Yeah.
It's always like, if something happens, oh, you hate me, you don't love me. That person did this, they don't like me. Like, she's constantly jumping right on into this negative place
Mhm.
really quickly. And
Mhm.
I just don't quite know how to, I don't know what to do about that.
Yeah, yeah, okay. And what's the regular response from you when those words start coming out of her mouth?
I'll normally talk a lot and say, like if she says it to me, you don't love me, you hate me, you don't want to hug me. I always say, of course I love you. I love you very much. If you'll let me, I'll give you a hug. Like
Mhm.
I would never hate you. And, you know, just say basically the opposite of everything, the positive side of everything she's just said negative.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Okay.
it breaks my heart, you know, to watch
Of
her
course.
constantly jump to all these conclusions that the whole world's against her always.
Yeah, yeah. I get that. I get that. It would be horrible to hear. So let's bust apart this then, okay? Because I'm gonna draw. We're gonna use the whiteboard
I
for
love it
this
when you
one.
draw.
Okay.
I'm a doodler, so I understand the whole drawing.
Good, good, good. I've learned to embrace the whiteboards.
Oh yeah, you have to shut that up a
Yeah.
bit because it's glaring on my computer. There we go. That's better.
Okay. All right. Good, good, good. So we've got, okay. So we've got this belief, okay. The belief that's showing through is that pretty much in your words, everyone is out to
everyone's out
get
together.
me.
Everyone hates
Right?
her. The world
Okay.
hates her.
Yep. Everyone hates me.
And
No one
I'm always
loves
trying to tell her
me.
not to use the word hate. It's such a strong word and it brings such strong vibes with it.
Yep.
But she
Okay.
likes it.
Yep. Which is more so the meaning that you've got on it rather than her. You know, that's definitely the adult.
Yep.
The adult meaning. We've got this heightened energy around the word hate.
Yep.
And because she feels that from you, she uses it because that's actually how she's feeling. She is feeling that it's like big. That's
Yep.
huge for her, right?
Yep.
So we've got a few ways that we communicate with people, right? We've got a few different ways we communicate with it, and especially with children, right? So there's a few different layers to this. So when we consider, firstly, okay, the child mind and the child brain, all right, we've got this part at the front here, okay, and then down here we've got another part. All right, and then we've got, let's say this is the brain stem here. Now it looks like the world, it's not the world, it's a brain, okay? Trust me, it's a brain. The eyes are over this side, okay?
Okay.
She's looking
Oh, now I see.
this way.
Here's the stem and here's the right.
That's right, exactly. See, you said you liked the drawings. Well, here we go, Stacey.
I love the drawings.
Easy. So this is where, all right, this part here, this is where we have access to the language center. All right, so this is all language just here. All language. That's not spelled right, but you get it.
I know what you mean.
Oh, back here, this is all emotion, okay? And this is where Reggie lives here.
Hey.
She lives here, all right?
Yeah.
She also lives down here. Reggie lives here, which is survival. All right. She lives there too. So when we've got then a scenario and she's saying, you don't love me, you hate me, okay? She's got all of this emotion, right? She's gone back into, it's hugely emotive and it's based on survival, okay? Because she's either feeling rejected or she's not belonging somewhere, right?
Yep.
Especially, okay, friends at school, they don't like me anymore. That's dangerous.
I'm not coming back here to play again, she says. Okay.
Yep, absolutely, definitely. I've got to protect myself.
Yep.
I can't risk feeling like the
exactly
reject
how
again.
it is. Yep.
Yeah. So this is all protection mode. Remember that we don't have any negative behaviors. We have protective behaviors.
Right.
Okay. Always protective. She's just trying to protect herself in the best way she knows how to at the moment. Okay. Now, it's going to be no surprise to you then that in the adult world, we flock to language. We flock to, no, but I do love you and you are the greatest. And yes, of course, we want to communicate that to her in words, right? Of course, I get it. I get it. But what's more powerful though, do you think? With a brain and a child that doesn't have, in those moments, especially, as we know, but in general, she doesn't have access to this really complex language center that can attach words to emotions, words to feelings, words to who mum is, what she's saying. Like, it's complex, right? She's got a lot of learning to do. That little brain has a lot of learning to do. So what's going to make the biggest difference outside of language and instead of language?
Actions. So
when we look at, okay, how do children learn? How do they know they're safe? How do they read people? It's got nothing to do with language.
No, it's our body language.
Nothing. It's all of the non-verbals. Okay, it's all got to do with the non-verbals, and it's all got to do with then, okay, the emotions that arise because of these non-verbals. Okay, the emotions that come up because of these non-verbals.
Right.
All right. So the thing is, you know, we've got a complex at the moment. She's got a complex that the whole world is hating her, or the second that she feels unsafe or like a bit of a reject, or not totally that loving feeling from the other person, when maybe the other person's attention is on something or someone else, or whatever the case may be, then it's me and I am unlovable. Nobody loves me, and it's a horrible world. It's a horrible world. Okay, so she's got
just
that.
Described Reggie well.
Yeah. And we come at it with verbals, okay, which can only take us so far. But what it is also doing, Stace, is it's for the future. We're teaching certain things. We're teaching that she's going to need constant,
reassurance.
Reassurance. That's right. Constant reassurance. Okay, constant. So what we get to focus on then is the moments outside of those moments.
Right.
Because, and this will all make sense in a second.
Now, you know, I've got to take a picture of this screen before you put it off to explain to Daddy.
Absolutely. No problem. No problem. And this is being recorded too.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
So because, okay, in those moments that she is heightened and nobody loves me, is there any logic? None. Are we going to learn anything in that moment?
No.
Are we going to believe what you say?
No.
So there's just no potential there. There's no potential in that moment for a learning lesson or a reassurance lesson.
All tried and proven.
Exactly, right?
Yes.
You've got all the evidence to prove that,
yes.
all the evidence. Okay. But what we have the moments outside of those heightened moments. Okay. So what we do have then is, they call it, and I know you would do this, Stace, but we get to figure out where the gap is, because there could be a gap somewhere. Okay. They call it, so delight. Okay, so they call it delight in them. So it's this sense of wonder in them. It's this sense of noticing something about them in everyday life, right? In these everyday moments where they think nobody's noticing, where they think you're not noticing, where they think you're not present, where they think you're not there, right? We've got this sense of delighting in them, because those moments where she's heightened, we can kick them to the curb straight away. Nothing gets achieved in those moments except for maybe a cuddle to help soothe her a little bit. That's it. That's all we're practicing now. Beautiful. Okay. Because remembering we've got the pendulum swing.
Yep.
Okay. Because right now, this end of the pendulum is not working. All right. So then we're swinging over to the other side, and we're going to try something new, which means again. We reduce the language. in those
That
moments.
bloody big mouth.
But it's,
You know, I do delight in her a lot. I
yes,
do compliment her a lot when she's not being savage, because she's quite savage when she's there.
yep.
But yeah, I
So
do
then,
often compliment her and tell her. I read a little article not so long ago about how we need to teach them to be resilient, and her resilience is not very good at all, but she is only 6 and she's learning. Like, they're not meant to be resilient at 6. But I was reading a thing teaching about, like, I changed my language when we do her reader for school. She hates doing them. And
yep.
I think she was struggling with reading for a bit, but she seems to have picked up on it now. And I would say to her, oh, good girl, good job. That's really good. You know, you read that really well. But now, instead of saying that when she's reading and she gets the words right and things, I say, oh, I just love how you really tried to sound out all those letters. And I make it more about what she's done that was great than just telling her she's good. And it seems to be really, she seems to really suck it in. Like, I see her go, oh, I did good.
Yeah. And that's a really good example then, Stacey, okay, between what we're trying to achieve right now. Because what's the biggest difference between both of those approaches? Oh, you're a good girl. Oh, I really love how you sounded out those letters and you didn't give up. And, you know, I noticed that you did this. What's the difference, do you see?
Well, good's got the other side to it, bad. So good and bad aren't really good words to me for children. I try not to use them, but it's so ingrained in us that it's hard to stop. But over here, it's telling her what she actually did that was really good, that was really clever, whereas over here is just a general, oh, you're so good. It's not,
and
actually.
That's what it is, Stacey. It's general, right? You've hit the nail on the head. It's general. So does that feel like, you know, when somebody's being general to you, that you feel seen? No, not really. But we've got specifics over here when you're telling her exactly what effort she's put in. And I noticed with that particular word, you did this, and we feel seen over here, right? Oh my gosh, I'm really noticed.
I've only started doing it the last week or so, see, because obviously my energy levels are better and I'm maybe a bit more awake. I don't know.
True, that's
just
true.
Started doing it, and I've noticed, like, after dance yesterday, she was really tired, and in the second, she does 2 classes, and in the second one they played a song that she just started crying, and the second teacher in the class come over and said, are you okay? And she was like, really. Anyway, she got through the class, and the teacher come out to me after and said, oh, she said that song makes her very scared. She saw something on YouTube. I said, oh, that's weird. She hasn't watched YouTube for a long time, but maybe that's why, because I told her she needs to ask me first, like, not, because you don't know what's on there. And she was really, really, like, distressed. So on the way home, we started talking about the class, and I just said, I love how you're learning to do the splits, and I love how you were doing the twirls, and, you know, when you couldn't do this part, Miss Summer really helped you. And we just talked about it, and she was happy to talk about it. Normally she doesn't want to talk about class after class. Because obviously it's because what you're saying, I didn't realize it was because she was sucking in the compliments. Because she obviously her view of herself isn't very high, I don't think, which is really sad. But I don't know, you often find that with children, that you think the parents are doing all these great things, and they have just, it's about them, not how they've been raised, really. It's just how they've come through, isn't it? And how they're growing. Nothing that's happened to them sometimes.
Sure, absolutely, definitely. And because it doesn't always need to be this big dramatic, you know, traumatic event that brings on, you know, the lack of confidence or the lack of self-worth or anything like that, right? It doesn't need to be anything like that.
I would describe her as, she really doesn't, like, she'll put, she loves fashion and she loves dressing herself, and she's such a she's very eccentric is a word for Reggie. Very eccentric. And she's a real Aquarius, and I let her go. Whatever she wants to wear, I let her rock it, and she rocks it, and she thinks, yep, I'm cool. But as far as a sense of worth, she really doesn't seem to think very much of herself, which kind of breaks my heart.
Okay. So this is how we're going to start just experimenting with that. This is how we're going to start. So and you've already started, Stacey, it sounds like, in the last week, right? You've already
I
started getting a
didn't
little
realise.
specific. Yeah. So you're already a champion. And you're probably right. It has a little bit more to do with feeling a bit more energetic. So you're
I think
noticing
it
little
does.
things more.
Yeah. I'm not dragging
Makes
myself
total
through.
sense.
I mean, I'm still tired, but I'm 100% to what I was, and I'm not dragging myself through every day trying to get to the end of it. Is how I
Sure.
feel.
Sure.
I feel it like
Yeah.
I'm actually alive a bit now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense then. So then, okay, so we've got Reggie lives over here. Okay. So we're going to make it super obvious. Don't worry, you can still take a picture of it in a second. Okay. We're going to make things really clear and really obvious about what we're going to practice this week.
Oh, good. I like simple.
Okay. So, okay. So that's the issue at hand. Okay. That's the feeling.
Yep.
That's the issue. That's the feeling. That's the fear that we've got at the moment. So all I want you to do now is we're going to make this super simple. And I just want you to rattle off the responses and reactions that are normal. Okay. So
The things that she
we've got
says when she's there.
things that you say and do when she says, oh, you don't love me, or oh, that friend doesn't love me, or I don't want to be, I'm not coming back here.
I'll usually say to her that I love her, that she is beautiful, that she is clever. When she says, I'm not coming back here for a play date, I'll say to her, well, that's not very nice. You've hurt your friend's feelings now, and they want you to come back. They want to be your friend.
Yeah. Okay.
I think what else I say.
What about actions?
I'll normally try and hug her.
Okay.
Like have a hand out to hug her.
Okay.
And she doesn't want to be touched. I'm a hugger. And I probably touch her when she doesn't want to be touched because I'm that way. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of a scenario. I've gone blank.
That's okay. Are there ever any consequences or learning conversation? Do you discipline anything? Are there any boundaries you bring in about what she can and can't say or do or be?
No, because it kind of happens before you have a choice in what she said. And I never tell her you shouldn't say that. I've never said that to her because I realize that's how she's feeling. I just don't know how to help her to learn to feel another way.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, she gets that worries me too, Jess, before I forget. That worries me.
Yep.
That she probably does. I feel like she gets away with a lot of things in this house and then has to go out into the real world and adapt to the real world because I understand that she doesn't understand and she can't, process some of these things that are happening. And then she has to go out into the world and she's expected to live up to different standards in the rest of the world or not do things. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, definitely. And
but I don't feel like the things I'm doing are of not benefit to her. Like I feel like the way I'm parenting her is better for her because she's so sensitive and she can't be spoken to like some, I watch some of my friends with their kids and they'll say things to them and they're like, oh, okay, I better not do that. And off they go. But if you spoke to Reggie like that, you'd have a meltdown for an hour on your hands. Like you just wouldn't do that.
Yeah, sure. Okay. And, intuitively, Stace.
Yeah.
Intuitively, yeah. So what we have over this side then is our norms, okay? This is our normal reaction, our norms, okay? So what we're going to just experiment with and play over here then, right? We're going to go to the other side. Well,
Homework.
what else could we do? What else could we play around with? Okay. So instead of all of this on this side, instead of all of that,
it isn't working.
No, it's not working. It's not. And sometimes it's hard for us to believe because we're like, I'm saying nice things, for God's sake.
Why isn't she hearing me?
God, I'm telling her that she's the most clever, beautiful, lovable
and
person.
She's still saying nobody loves me and
For
my
God's
hair's
sakes.
ugly or something.
Exactly. So what the hell? So what's the opposite then, Stace? What's something that would be opposite to these? In those moments.
You're going to tell me, because otherwise I would have been doing them.
But now
I guess you're going to say actions
doing.
or actions and the delight in her, like you were just saying, like more compliments when we're not in that unlovable state.
So yeah, perfect. So you've already started that, right? So you've started that. So we're going to continue with that, right? Outside of those heightened moments. So that's perfect. That's wonderful, right?
Oh.
So what else?
I don't know.
There's no right or wrong answer here. There's no right or wrong. There's no silly.
Having conversations when we're not there, when we're not in that state.
Okay.
I don't know. Reading books about. We've read 100 books about feelings. We're always on about feelings. They did the feeling cards at the OT today, and I was like, oh, she's falling asleep. We've done this. But I just keep going back, you know.
Yeah. So we might have conversations when we aren't there, when we aren't heightened. Okay. Anything else?
I'm guessing some kind of body language has to come in there somewhere. I don't know.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Could also be, which I've been very trying to work on myself. And I've tried to work on it since she was born, but it still creeps in because it's something my mother has done to me unintentionally. Not talk about myself badly because she's watching me do it. Like I've always, since she was born, tried not to talk. Like she'll say, oh, look at your chubby belly, mummy, when we're in the shower, and she'll like shake my belly, and I'm like, ugh. But I've never said, oh, mummy hates that belly, mummy wants to lose weight. I'll just kind of say, I know, but mummy's belly has grown 2 babies and I've got 2 humans earthside with that big belly. So it's very special. And I'm always trying to, like, if I'm putting some mascara on in the morning or something, and she says, why do you wear makeup today, mummy? And so I've tried to do it when she's not around because I don't want her to think that she has to put mascara on to look beautiful. Like, obviously I think because my mother did that to me. Do you know what I mean?
I do.
Something I'm trying really hard to be more conscious about.
Okay. So
there's an example I can remember to tell you. We went out to dinner last Saturday night with friends at the club, and we were leaving, and it was about 8:30, so it was kind of late for the kids. And the lady I was walking with and her daughter, because Reggie had got all dressed up, put her glitter heels, and had my wedding bag as her bag, and she looked beautiful. She had her denim jacket on, and anyway, they were saying to me walking out, oh, doesn't Reggie look gorgeous? Look at her bag and her glitter shoes. I said, she does. She looks absolutely beautiful. And I don't know whether one of us had a little giggle about something but Reggie has just spun around out the front of the building and said, why are you laughing at me? Everybody's laughing at me. It's not funny. I'm not funny. And they were like, oh, dear God, we were just saying how beautiful you look like. What's wrong?
Okay.
I said,
okay.
It's okay. I said, wish me luck. She's very tired. So all the way home, I heard about how she didn't like them anymore because they were laughing at her. That's the kind of thing that goes on.
Yeah, got you. So we've really got this sensitivity around other people making fun of her.
Yes. Yes.
and people thinking that she's silly or weird or,
Yes.
odd or unlovable. Like there's really this sense
It's
of
very unlovable, like you've said there.
yeah. Okay. Interesting. All right. So, and again, right, we get to see that behavior and know that there is a deeper reason for that. We get to see that behavior and know that there's a symptom of something else that we can tackle. So,
Okay.
because usually it's not in those moments that we're going to create the change, are we? We're
No,
just not anymore, because we know
not
that
when you've just
Reggie
laughed
lives
at me
here.
and you're making a joke of me. We're there. We're not coming
Yeah.
down now.
Exactly. So because we live here, when we act from there, it's not a teachable moment and it's not a changeable moment or anything. It's just a moment that's going to be there and pass if we don't give it too much attention, right? So on this side, then we've got other things like, I wonder what would happen. Okay. And again, we experiment. But I wonder what would happen if in those moments she says these things about herself, like, you don't love me and no one likes me and blah, 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 all of those things. I wonder what would happen if you just said, oh, yeah, sweetie, okay, I get it. And like nothing else, right? We're not saying, oh, but I do love you, and but you are clever, and but you are this and you are this, right? So we're completely altering it, right? Instead of us convincing her otherwise, we are just seeing her in it. See how it's very different?
Yeah.
Okay. Because
Yep.
I've had before, a mum say to me that her son, when trying to do some homework and he can't do the homework, and then he'll throw it across the other side of the room and he'll say, I'm so dumb. I'm so stupid. And forever, her method has been, you're not, sweetie, you're not stupid. You are so smart. You are the smartest boy that I know.
And
Does
now
it
you
help?
telling me
No.
someone else's story, I'm looking at that going, well, that doesn't help him right now. He feels dumb.
Yeah. He does feel dumb. He does feel dumb. So what if all that we needed to do in those moments is to understand, yeah, I know
Acknowledge
you're
them.
feeling dumb. Yeah, I get it, sweetie. I get it. Yeah. That'd kind of suck, wouldn't it? Or whatever it is. Or that feel, I get it. Yeah. I hear
Yeah.
what you're saying. You feel that, whatever it is. It's short, sharp, and simple. Short, sharp, and simple. So we are seeing them in the feeling. So all that you're doing from now on, right, what we're going to experiment with is we are not even going to, we're not even going to say any of these things.
Okay.
Now, hugs are allowed. Okay, this is non-verbal, right? Get your affection in there, no problems there. But in terms of what
if
we're
you're
saying,
allowed.
we're not. Yeah, that's right. If you're allowed. But we're going to ease off the words. We're going to ease off the words, and we're just going to start seeing her in the feeling and allowing her to hear from you that you get it, that you've heard her. That's it. That is it. Because usually, Stace, when we see repeating behaviors and repeating words, the reason why we do that and see that is because they still haven't felt, seen, heard, and understood in it. So they feel like they have to keep repeating
that makes
it.
total sense to me.
Because nobody has believed me yet.
I get that. Okay.
Yeah, nobody has believed me yet.
That makes total
has
sense.
Heard me yet.
And the first thing we always try and do when we love someone is make them feel better by saying all the things that they don't need, they don't want to hear.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's all we're going to start doing, right? We're just going to start seeing her in that emotion. Okay. And this is going to go beautifully with what you've been practicing over the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
Okay. Beautifully. We're just going to start saying something else, which is, let's just say, for example, she says, yeah, go, Stace.
Well, really, how much simpler is that for me? Like, how
This
much
is the
simpler
point.
is it for me when she says, oh, look at my hair, it looks awful. And how much easier is it for me to say, oh, okay, I understand you feel like that, Reg, instead of 500 words trying to make her believe that it doesn't look awful. Like, that's so much easier.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Because I'm just
Because
thinking now
remembering in
about
that
all the
moment,
words I use.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
exhausting.
and we all do it. We all do it. Every parent does it. I sure as hell I'll probably end up doing it sometimes, right? We gotta unlearn this
I was
and
going
bring
to
it back to
say,
the
yeah, because
basics.
we're all human, aren't we? Like all the learning I've done from working with other kids, and that's what I said to a mum the other day. I've worked with kids that were severely autistic, not like Reg is easy. She flies under the radar. The psych even said to me, I really didn't know which way to go on this, but I believe you need some help. So I'm going to say ASD. And I was like, oh, she said, and if you hadn't have pushed, she would fly under the radar at school forever, probably, because she just fronts up as a shy, well-mannered, quiet little girl.
Mm,
But I've worked with
okay.
these kids that are very, very hard work. And
Mm,
it seemed easy because I could go home. I could put in 150% into them and then go home and leave them there.
of course.
And it's
That's
your
right.
own. And like I know all these other things, but it's so hard when it's your
Yeah.
own.
Yeah, you're
You're
emotionally
living it.
invested.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're living it. And because you're emotionally invested, because it triggers emotions in you, what's the most
Yes.
exhausting thing that we can experience is emotion. Like
Yep.
that's the most exhausting thing that takes our energy,
Really
Stacey.
is.
Day in,
And I
day
didn't
out, it is.
really didn't realize that until I became aware when you said to me that I'm exhausting myself trying to help her all
Mm,
the time. And I was like, oh, of
mm.
course, that's what it is.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, I kind of
We've
knew,
got
but you
to,
put it to me in a sense that I actually really saw what was going on.
sure, sure.
Kind of stepped
So it just
outside of
means
it
you
and
are
went,
ready.
oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, perfect. So that means you're in the right space right now, right? This is the
Yes.
time. Yeah, you're getting it. You've got it. You're hearing it. It makes
Oh, I'm
sense.
just going to see her in that way she's feeling and acknowledge.
Yeah. And keeping in mind then, okay, so it's when she's fluttering around in normal space that these are the moments where we delight in them. Okay,
Yep.
these are the moments where we get to see how can we adjust that story that she's got right now that she's unlovable. And this is where you being specific is starting to help and will be great for her, but it's certainly not in these moments.
And it's not going to stop those moments yet. Like it's an age thing too, isn't it? Like they've got to grow older before the other parts of their brain start to work with the parts that work now.
Exactly, exactly. So basically, to make it really easy for you, Stace, what's happened because she's 6, what's happened is for her to get this whole story that something's happened, right? Everything was flowing normally. Everything was flowing normally for her. Everything was cool. Everything felt really good until one day. And you may or may not know when this was, okay? And this happens to every child. This happened to you when you're a child. This happens to everybody. Okay. Until one day she's flowing around, everything feels good. And then something happens. Someone says something. Okay. It could have been because hers is, oh, you don't love me. It could have been in a moment where she was feeling, let's just say, really connected to you. She wanted time with you. She was loving sitting next to you. And your mind might have been somewhere else and you've got another stressor there. And you're like, Reggie, can you just get off me, please? And I don't know if that's happened.
As simple
This
as
is an
that.
example. It can be as simple as that.
Right.
But
Doesn't
when they
have to
get to a
be
certain age,
big.
right? No, it does not. But see what's happened in that moment, Stace,
I
is
see clearly what's happened.
she's gone from feeling good to danger, and I never want to feel this again.
Right. Right.
Okay. So the event has happened and the story is created.
Right.
This happens with every human. So the event has happened, and she now has started creating a strategy to make sure that it never happens again, that she never feels that rejected little girl again, because it's so painful and emotional and hurtful.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
She never wants to feel it. So what she does then, if an inkling of it comes in, then she is like, oh, you don't love me, I'm never coming back here again.
Straight into
and all
protective
of it will come
mode.
out. Straight into protective mode. She's protecting herself. Protecting.
The word's right down there, straight into survival mode.
That's right. Exactly.
Yep, got
so
it.
that's what's going on here. That's what's happening.
Okay. Got it. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so grateful that I found you, Jess.
Oh, me too,
So
Stacey.
grateful.
Me too. Yeah.
You,
so am I.
You have no idea.
Thank you.
The work you do is
I'm
amazing.
so glad to. Thanks, Stace. Thank you. I'm just
that's
happy to be able to share it.
It's all common sense now. You've put it that way. It's like, oh, of course. Yes, that makes total sense to me now. Because I couldn't understand where all these big emotions were coming from, because she really has lived in she's been pampered in this house, because she was 20 years since the last one. You know, Daddy doesn't have any other kids. She's really been quite love thrown upon her, but that doesn't mean that all them other little things like that.
Yes. Exactly.
Yep. And we live in a world of, she's been born in a time when everyone's been on their phone. So it could have been any little moment where she was told, stop it, I'm just trying to finish this, or, you know.
Exactly. That's right.
And she's actually she's been telling me lately, because I've been doing a lot of things on my phone to try and work out this business and try and get things started so I can start looking for clients. And she's like, Mummy, get off your phone. Just put your phone down. I'm more important than your phone. Your daughter, she says, your daughter's more important than your phone. And I'm like, yes, you are, Reggie. You're right. And I put it straight down. I don't argue with her that I'm doing something, because I get that she does not understand that has to be done. All she knows is that phone's more important than me right now. So I've been making sure I just put it down and go, well, that actually can wait till later. So we'll look at that later.
Yeah. That's right. She's seeing it completely differently from her perspective. Yeah. So and again, we've gone through a lot in this session, right? We've gone through.
We're like digging deep really early, aren't we?
We are. But this just means that we're really getting to the core of many, many things very quickly, which is what we want. That's all we want. Okay. So to make it really simple then, from today onwards, what we're going to be experimenting with is we're going to continue reducing the language, right, around meltdowns and emotions, and to go another level on top of that, we're just going to see her in those emotive moments. That's it from now.
I can totally see, I'm thinking back to some work I did with a little kid a few years ago at work, and I totally now see where I'm going wrong. I just need to, as you said, see her in the moment where she's at.
Absolutely. So, and that's as simple as it gets to be this fortnight. That's as simple as it needs to be. Okay.
How did you put it? You put it as she's not feeling seen,
heard
or understood.
Yeah, they're the three whoppers. Whenever, and this will work in your relationship, Stace, in your marriage, in any friendship, in any relationship.
It's so true, isn't it?
They're the three things that we come back to every time. You know, if you think to any arguments you've had with hubby and it just goes on and on and on, I know, God, with my relationship, right? If I can't get over it, it's because one of those three things haven't been satisfied. I haven't felt seen by him, or he doesn't understand. He doesn't get it. He doesn't understand. I don't feel like all those emotions have been able to come out, right?
Just, I've been using there must be a good reason for this. your
Oh,
strategy.
how's that going, by the
Well,
way?
I've had Wade home for 2 weeks, and as you can imagine, when he comes home, he thinks he's on holidays. So he like leaves everything everywhere in the bedroom, everything everywhere in the house. He lays around. He'll open a kitchen door and just leave it open. And I'm like, man, I live here for 2 weeks without you, and this is not how I live. So I've been like walking in the kitchen, and I'll go, well, I'm sure there's a good reason he didn't shut that cupboard. Oh, I'm sure there's a good reason why there's 5 different sets of clothes on the floor. Let's just pop them over there. And I'm like, don't let it annoy you, Stacey. I'm sure there's a good reason for this. It actually does help. Not to say I don't get frustrated and wild, but I keep it to myself and think, there must be a good reason why that's there. Really helpful.
It is helpful. And it also doesn't mean that you keep it within yourself all the time either.
Yes.
Because it can be that you've seen that kitchen door and you go, hey babe, just wondering, is there a reason you've left it open? That's it. Our tone of voice is different, right? Our energy is different.
A little bit like if, is there any reason why the butter's still out? Oh, instead of, are you finished with this? Why can't you put it away? It's 2 totally different conversations.
It is totally, and 2 different outcomes.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Love it.
So I'm glad you're throwing it in there. That's really great.
I've been using it, don't you worry. Not so much with Reggie, because she's a child and I don't have high expectations really. I'm like, yes, I expect you to clean up, and she doesn't like it, and all the normal things with kids. But with him, like, you're an adult, man. You should know better.
Yeah. I get you. I hear you. Yeah. We all go through it. We all do.
I know. Lucky we love them. That's all I ever say. Lucky
that's
we
right.
love
them. That's right.
And they love us. Yeah. Let's not forget that. And lucky they love us.
Exactly. And they provide in their own ways that they can and know how. Yes. So are we clear, Stace?
Yes, I'm looking for the next fortnight. I'm looking forward to trying this actually, because I know I'll get a chance before the day's out. I'm sure. Great. We have lots of moments. So, and Reggie's brother's actually coming tomorrow on the plane from Sydney, and we're spending the weekend in the city. We're staying Saturday night in a motel. His girlfriend has actually, because she's coming up here to be in a show, because they're both musicians. She's in a show, and she's paid a flight up for Jack because it's his birthday next week, and she's paid a motel room Saturday night for Reggie and I to sleep in, so that we can all have she calls it an excursion in the city together, and that's for Jack for his birthday. Because she said, I knew if I asked you to come and stay, you'd say you can't afford it. And I get that, you're not working. So Jack's birthday present from me is time with you guys. And I was like, do you know how much pride I had to swallow? Do you know how much pride I had to swallow to accept and say thank you very much? But I'm learning. Yeah. I was like, she wants to do this, and she wouldn't do it if she couldn't. So
that's right.
I need to learn to accept and say thank you. Which
absolutely
was really tough.
You give a lot. You give, and
and I do, and I have given a lot in my life, and I'm like, okay, it's time to learn to say just thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, have the best time. How magical.
I will, thank you. So it'll be interesting to see when she's around brother how things will play out. But yeah, we'll get back to normal next week.
Yeah. Make sure you keep me updated. I'll check in anyway. But if anything pops up and it goes haywire, or it goes really well, then let me know.
I hadn't bothered to message you because I thought, I can't wait to tell her the good news in person, because everything's just been quite flowy, and when it's not, I've shut my mouth.
You're a good student. You are an A+ student.
Trying hard. Maybe I wasn't at school and I'm trying to be now, Jess.
Look, school wasn't my jam either. I flourished in uni, but not school.
Reggie is going to be a struggle to get through to the end of school. She already says it's boring. And I asked her the other day, would she be interested in doing some art classes, because you can get them through your funding, because she's just crazy creative. Like, she draws incredible at her age. And she said, oh no, I don't want to go there, Mummy, where they tell me what I can create. And I went, okay. Radio. That's one less place I got to take you. That's good.
Yeah, yeah. You live on the north side, don't you, Stace?
Yes.
Yeah. There's a pretty cool place in it might be a little far, but if you feel like one weekend doing a day excursion, if you go to Balimba, right, there's a big art shed there, huge, and it's free to
Oh,
go there. They've got all the resources, and there's adults, and you can bring children in there. So you get your
wow.
easel. There's professional painters in there as well, and then
Really?
all ranges. Yeah, you
Belinda,
should
I need
see
to write that down. I wonder.
Balimba. I'll get the name of it.
Oh, could you
I'll get the name
please?
and I'll send it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'd be
yeah, free to
interested to
go,
take it.
and
I'm
she
not
can pick
arty
the
at
size
all.
of her. But you could try something. I
Well,
mean,
I was
I
going
didn't.
to say you should never say never. We can all
Right,
draw. It's just how
exactly.
good some of us are.
Well, it's how much practice as well, right? How much practice.
Mine's very
And
abstract looking.
hey, there's a market for that. There's a market for that. Don't worry.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So she might enjoy something like that. It's free reign. No one's there telling you what to do. She just gets to sit
Oh,
down, and you
love
get to
to
sit
try
down,
that.
maybe just have a coffee and watch her, or you do your own, do it together.
Yep.
And there's big, small sizes, and
She
she can
likes
just
to
go
do
to
things
town.
together. We've started that before bedtime. I don't know if I told you. We turn the screens off. We come and sit